Hi there. Today I want to talk to you about the second pandemic that's going on now, and it's not the one attacking our health. It's the one that is attacking our privacy. And the culprit here is not the virus, it's technology, and it's also people, you and me, millions of us. For example, Facebook has a form that you can fill out now. It's inviting you to fill out a form to tell it how you're feeling, to give it intimate medical information that you would normally only share with your doctor in the privacy of his office. But millions of people are giving this information. Why? Because Facebook has teamed up with Carnegie Mellon in order to gather this information and get some idea of how the virus is spreading. So it's a good cause. So people are saying, hey, I want to do my part, and they're willingly giving up their privacy in the most intimate way. Fitbit, you know those health devices that are so popular today? Some researchers at Scripps did an interesting experiment where they took a lot of Fitbit data, and they only looked at two things. Number one, resting heart rate and activity level. And from that, they were able to infer if a person was ill. And if it happened during flu season, they can infer with some confidence that it was probably the flu. And right now, if somebody were ill, they can infer with a great deal of confidence that it's probably the coronavirus. It's amazing how much you can infer from just a little bit of data, all right? So now, the other thing is smart thermometers. You know, when I was a kid, my mom would put that glass thermometer in there and we'd wait for like a minute. Not anymore. There is a smart thermometer on the market right now by a company called Kinza. And what it does is it takes your temperature, but then it broadcasts the information to your smartphone. But more than that, then it starts querying you about what else are you feeling? What other symptoms? And you're feeding all this information in your smartphone because you want its medical expert feedback, right? Again, for a good cause. But guess what? All that information is being stored away, and it's available to Kinza. And they will market it to third parties. Yeah. The other thing is just a smartphone like this, ordinary smartphone, has three devices. You may not be aware of it. It has an accelerometer, which detects motion. Okay, so it knows when you're moving. It's very helpful with the health app. I have a health app here. And it can say count the number of steps. It can monitor my heart rate when I'm moving and so forth and so on. So it sounds like, okay, I'm willing to give up my privacy to get that kind of feedback, to keep healthy, right? But here's the thing. There are some hackers who actually used the information from the accelerometer to eavesdrop on your conversations. No kidding. You know, like when you can opt out for the phone not to use your microphone and you do that and you think, okay, I'm safe. They can't eavesdrop on me, right? Well, these hackers use the accelerometer to pick up the vibrations from the speaker of your phone to decipher the conversation. This is where we are. I mean, this is where we are, friend. All right. This thing also has a gyro, which tells it up from down, you know, twisting sideways and so forth. So it always knows the orientation of the phone. It also has a GPS, which you're very well aware of, is used for navigation, right? And so we all allow it to use location, right? Because you can't use a navigation device without that. And so that's the GPS. There's a satellite up there constantly monitoring your actual location, the coordinates of your location. So again, all that information about you, and it seems like for good purposes, is being collected and being sold. Okay, now I'll have more to say about that in a minute. Google and Apple just announced recently, and they're rolling it out this month, that they are partnering up to create a tracking system. Here's how it's going to work. Suppose you're carrying your phone with you, you go to the supermarket, and you're going to come within a short distance of a whole bunch of people. Well, there will be a beacon on your phone that broadcasts a numerical key that identifies your phone and therefore yourself to all the other people there without your knowing it, without your doing anything. And similarly, you will collect numerical keys from all the iPhones that are within your proximity. So if any one of you gets coronavirus down the line, you'll be alerted. Oh, hey, you've been exposed within the last 14 days to the coronavirus. It doesn't tell them your name, but the information gathered by the phone is there. All right? Now, it is an opt-in. But again, I predict millions of people will opt in because they're thinking they're doing a good thing that will help the government and health agencies track the spread of the coronavirus. Okay, now, about this information that's being gathered by your smart devices, smart thermometer, your Fitbit, whatever it is what's called de-identified. Okay, that is to say, it allegedly removes any information that could personally identify you. So it gives you the kind of sense of, okay, well, what's the big deal then? No. Listen to this. There were some scientists in England and in Belgium who took a bunch of so-called de-identified data, and they were able to reconstruct it and identify people from just 15 de-identified fragments of information, okay? It was almost like fragments of your fingerprint that they were able to put together and come up with a whole fingerprint for you. They were able to identify an American with 99.98% accuracy, an individual, from just these 15 little so-called de-identified fragments of information that are supposedly not personal. And by the way, these so-called de-identified pieces of information are no longer protected by privacy laws. They're considered to be public information. They're traded on the market like stocks and bonds. Okay, and then two Germans recently, a data scientist and a journalist, teamed up, and they got a hold of a bunch of browsing information on 3 million Germans. And again, this was all so-called de-identified or anonymized information. And they were able to identify specific individuals. They found one judge who they could name who had a thing for porn. They found another person they could tell their sexual preferences. Another person they could tell the kind of meds they were taking. In other words, don't take a great deal of comfort when they say to you, oh, don't worry, the information is de-identified, it's anonymized, blah, blah, blah. Hackers with the intention of getting at you can put this stuff together, piece it together like a little jigsaw puzzle and find out who you are. That's the truth. And so in the wrong hands, it can be used for blackmailing, for mass surveillance by governments, and also for identity theft. So you got to take this stuff very seriously. Look, in my book, End of Life as We Know It, I talk about this stuff, privacy and the loss of privacy. And I explained that we give up our privacy willingly for security. We saw that in 9/11. Now we have more security cameras, more cameras, closed-circuit cameras looking at us everywhere we go. I dealt with that in an earlier episode. All why? Again, for a good cause, security against terrorism. Now we're talking about security against the virus. And so people are willingly giving up their privacy. Now, I could have gone on and given you many more examples of where our privacy is being invaded. So, for example, in Elizabeth, New Jersey, the mayor has allowed police to use drones to spy on you in your own backyard, not just on public parks and public spaces, but in your own backyard. And that they see you're aggregating and not just the right way without the proper social distance, they can fine you. Listen to this quote. If these drones save one life, it is clearly worth the activity and the information the drones are sending. It smacks of authoritarianism, doesn't it? And it's almost as if we are getting a glimpse of a police state. And you wonder, in 9/11, we didn't recover the privacy we lost. It's gone forever, friend. And so now the question we're facing is the privacy we are losing left and right now, in the name of a good cause, in the name of fighting this vicious virus, will we ever get that privacy back? Can we ever recover it? Will we ever recover it? Will the government give it back to us? That's a big question right now. Think about it. I'm not so sure, but I'm not saying. I'm just watching. We'll see. Anyway, as always, thank you for watching. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay strong, and no matter what, my friend, stay positive.